Hello, welcome to episode 1 of Critical Defense. I'm your host, James Key. Our goal here at Critical Defense is to give access to self-defense techniques to those who normally wouldn't have access to them. So what you're going to see in this show is a martial art called Krav Maga. Krav Maga is based off of natural body movement. It was developed in Israel for use by the Israeli Defense Forces. It was later adapted to use for civilians and has been used in women's self-defense, anti-rape campaigns, anti-bully campaigns. Police forces around the world use it, and military units also use it. Basic stance: first thing, hands come up in the ready position. This is to help kind of defend against possible attacks that may come. Right foot comes back to where your right toe is kind of even or slightly behind the left heel. And you're going to slightly turn off to kind of a 45-degree angle. Main reason for this is it turns this leg in, so if there's a strike coming to my groin, I can kind of get this in to deflect. If I'm standing straight up in a normal karate, wrestling type stance, and a strike comes to my groin, I am not going to be able to deflect that off. So we're here, hands in the ready position. Alright, second technique we're going to cover is movement. So we get into our stance, and then to move forward, I'm going to push off with my right leg and move forward. So I step up and replant back in my stance. If I need to move back, I'm going to push off my left leg to move back, and I'm back in my stance. If I need to move left, I push off with my right leg. And now I'm over here in my stance. To move back right, I push off my left leg, and I'm back. All right, third thing we're going to go over are the 3 ranges in a fight. First range is outside range. So from here, I can't punch and I can't kick, and the bad guy can't punch or kick me either. So he takes one step in. So now we're in kickboxing range. I can kick, I can punch, but he can kick and punch me here as well. So the last one, he takes a step in. Now we're in close in our boxing range, close range. You'll hear it called several different things. We can still throw punches, not so much kicks, it's more knees. We also have elbows. We can go for clinches. But just keep in mind, what I can do to him, he can do to me. Next thing we're going to go over is proper punching technique. So there's a couple of key things you need to remember anytime you throw a punch. So you want to make sure you keep your hand and your wrist basically in line with the rest of your forearm. And you want to focus on punching with these top 2 knuckles, because if you hit with these bottom 2, you're probably going to break your hand. So when you throw this punch out, I'm aiming with these 2 knuckles, and everything is perfectly in line with my forearm. Because if my hand is either cocked up, cocked down, either cocked to the left or cocked to the right, I'm going to cause damage to my wrist. I can either sprain it or I can break it. So you always want to make sure when you're throwing a punch that this is all in a straight line. So building on our proper punching technique, we're going to go over the basic jab cross combination. So when we're in our stance, our hands are up, they're open. I teach everybody to keep their hands open. There's a lot of things I can do from here that I can't necessarily do when my hands are clenched. I can parry punches, I can grab. There's just several options that you don't have if your fists are clenched when you're in your stance. So we start off here. As we extend this punch out with our jab, we're going to take a slight step with our left foot, and we're going to come out. Again, this punch, I'm leading with these 2 knuckles, and everything is in line. So as I retract and go with the cross, my left hand comes back to my face to help guard. I lead front 2 knuckles, everything is in line, and I'm also pushing off with my right foot. That is where all the punching power comes from. So you're going to go 1, 2, jab, cross. Alright, so I've shown you the jab cross. So I've got a pad. Chris is going to hold the pad for us, and I'm just going to kind of show you a little bit more full speed what this would look like. So again, When I throw the jab, I'm going to step forward with my left foot, jab, push off with my right foot, and cross. So jab, cross, and then a little full speed. Alright, so now that we've practiced our 1-2 punch, I'm going to show you guys a quick drill just so you can kind of start practicing putting those two punches together. So the pad holder is going to hold the pad at chest level, and we're just going to strike the pad. So you start out slowly at first. Okay, and then once you get comfortable doing that, you can start ramping it up a little. And then once you get comfortable with that, now you can actually start moving around, so you can actually start getting the feel of what it would be to move around and throw these punches. Our next technique we're going to cover is palm strike. So when we're doing this palm strike, we're striking with the U-shaped part of your palm. And there are a lot of areas that you can hit with a palm that you're not really going to damage your hand the same way you would if you were punching. So if we're being attacked or we're having to deal with a situation, I can palm strike him to the chest, I can hit him to the chin, and I can even go to the nose. And I don't really have to worry about damaging my hand that much. Now we went over the palm strike, we're going to demonstrate, we're going to hit the pad a few times just to show you the kind of power you can generate with this strike. So again, we're going to hit with this U-shaped part of our hand, and for this drill, I'm going to just strike to the chest. So again, we're just showing the power you can generate from this. Alright, so far we've gone over proper punching technique, jab cross combination, and a palm strike. So the next strike we're going to go over is a hammer fist. So to do the hammer fist, it's pretty simple. You just make a fist like you would if you were going to punch somebody, and you're just going to hit with the bottom part of your hand, either across their chin, in the throat, side of the head. The options are endless when it comes to the hammer fist. All right, we're going to do a few demonstrations of the hammer fist on a couple of different angles. So the first one we're going to start out with is a hammer fist to the side. So you could be standing here talking to somebody, minding your own business, and somebody's coming up to the side and they have intent on doing you harm. So what you're going to do is you're just going to kind of step out with your right foot towards your attacker and strike with your hammer fist. Okay, so full speed, this is going to look here. Alright, next variation of the hammer fist we're going to show is now the attacker is coming from behind me. So again, I'm standing here talking to somebody or just waiting in line, whatever it is. I happen to just kind of glance around and I see him coming. So I'm going to step back with my right foot and hammer fist. So full speed. Okay, next variation is now the attacker is straight in front of us. So he's not trying to sneak up on us, he's coming straight on. So we're going to hammer fist straight in. Your target for this would be your opponent's nose or chin. So again, this is just a straight on hammer fist. So full speed. Last variation of the hammer fist we're going to show today. The attacker is bent over for some reason, whether you've kicked him in the groin, he's tripped and fell to his knees, whatever the scenario is. And now we're just coming in with this hammer fist to finish him off. And our target would be right across the back of the neck at the base of the skull. That's a knockout blow, and that's basically where we want to hit with this strike. So again, straight down. Next thing we're going to go over are elbows. There's 3 basic elbows that we're going to cover. Horizontal, which come straight across your body. Your vertical, which come up to the opponent's chin. And then you've got your overhead, which come over the guard of your opponent. So when we're striking with our elbows, we're trying to hit with this last 2 to 3 inch area right here at the end. So when you throw your horizontal elbow, it can come in to the chin, or if they're really tall, I can elbow him in the ribs. The vertical elbow is going to come up under his chin, and then if his guard is up, the overhead elbow is going to come over his guard and will go to his nose or chin. Okay, we went over our 3 elbow strikes, so we're going to hit the pad a few times just to show you kind of what these look like at full speed. So we're going to start off with our horizontal elbows again, the ones that are coming straight across our body. So the next one we're going to work on is our vertical elbows. They're going to go up to the opponent's chin. So as he's holding the pad, we come up into it like this. So we're going to hit this full speed a few times. All right, and the last one we're going to go over is the overhead elbow. So when your pad holder is holding the pad, they kind of want to brace it on their shoulder. So that way you don't accidentally miss the pad and hit your partner. So again, these are going to come over the top and down on both sides. Alright, so we've already covered our 3 basic elbows. So we're going to go over a couple of different elbows. They're back elbows. So when we do these, there's 2 variations for this particular elbow. So one comes in low and the other one comes in high. Alright, so we're going to demonstrate these elbows using a live person just so you can kind of see where the target area would be. So the first one will come in low to the stomach. Second one comes in high to the chin. Alright, well now we're going to demonstrate these elbows hitting a pad so you can kind of see what they look like full power. So, now that we've gone over back elbows, hammer fists, and straight punch, we're going to use the pad to go over a drill where you can start building some coordination and chaining these strikes together. So it's a 4-step drill. First elbow's low, second elbow's high, step around, hammer fist, and straight punch. So full speed. One more time. Alright, so far we have seen our horizontal elbows, vertical, our overhead, our 2 back elbows. The next elbow we're going to add is going to be our downward elbow. So when we're dropping this elbow, it basically is coming straight down. At the same time, we're dropping our weight to give us a little more power on top of the elbow. So this elbow is going to work off of your opponent being bent over or down in some way. So if I've struck them in the groin or whatever, they bent over, I'm going to drop this elbow straight down on the back of their neck or the base of their skull. Straight down. Alright, so a quick demonstration of the downward elbow on the pad. Coming straight down and dropping our weight. The last striking technique we're going to cover in today's video is going to be the eye strike. So when we're doing this eye strike, our hand is going to kind of make a spear. So your fingers are all together and they're straight. And you're going to go straight in for one of your attacker's eyes. It doesn't really matter which one you hit, you're just going for one singular eye. So again, this hand kind of blades, comes out, and then you can follow up with your next strike whatever that may be at that point. Alright, so to demonstrate the technique, I'm going to show my partner here what we would kind of be doing with this eye strike. So again, we start off, we're always in our stance, we're ready. So when I come in, my hand goes straight, I go right to this eye. When I hit this eye, his head is going to turn. When his head turns, I follow up with my next strike. Next thing we're going to cover is 360 defense or outside defense. So when we start this off, if somebody throws this haymaker punch that you see so many times in every fight video on YouTube, we're going to throw our arm up and meet that punch. This is not only a block, but it is also a strike. So this is angled down and away from our body to deflect the energy of the punch away from our body. Most people throw their hand up when somebody's trying to hit them in the head anyway, so we're just using that and turning it into a block. So when you throw this one up, this again protects against this overhand haymaker punch that you see so many times. So you got this on the left side and you got it on the right side. So if they were throwing a hook punch to your head, this would just come straight over and make a 90-degree angle right here. So you got that on the left and on the right. If they were throwing a hook punch to your body, you just come down and you make a 90-degree going the other way, left and right. And if they're coming up with an uppercut, or let's say they have a knife in their hand and they're trying to stab you in the stomach, you're going to come down and scoot your hips back and away, left and right. So now that we've covered outside defense, we're going to go over inside defense. So inside defense is going to protect us against straight punches that are coming straight at your face or your body. There will be blocks against hook punches to the head and body, just in case your opponent is closer to you than he would be if you were doing the outside defense. So again, our hands are up. If they're throwing their jab at your face, you're going to parry it off to the side. Parry it off to the side here if he comes back with a cross. Then if he were to throw two straight punches at my chest, I'm going to come around with my forearm and deflect the strike away here and deflect the strike away there. He comes in with a high hook punch to my head. I'm going to bring my arm and just rest it against my head like this and let my arm take the brunt of the strike. So I've got it on this side and I've got it on this side. Now he's throwing a close-in hook punch to my body. I'm going to drop this elbow straight down against my hip and again just let my arm take the brunt of that strike. So there and then there. So now that you've seen outside and inside defense, I'm going to show you a blocking drill you can do with a partner just to help you get more proficient with these blocks that we just learned. So again, we're going to start off in our stance, and the bad guy, when he's attacking on this first part, he's coming outside wide to help simulate those haymaker and wide hook punches that you would see for most street fighters. So we're here, we block, 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 block. He comes to the body, block, block. Now he's coming up the middle, up the middle. Okay, so now we're going to reset, and he's going to come at me with straight punches. So the first two are going to be at my face, the second two are going to be at my chest. So he starts off, I parry, I block, I block. He comes up with a high hook, I block, high hook, I block, body hook, and body hook. So that's a blocking drill you can do at home. Alright, so we've covered outside defense, inside defense. You've seen the blocking drill. So now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of build on that. And we're going to go into, as we block, at the same time, we throw a counter strike. So if they're throwing that haymaker punch, we're going to come in, we're going to block, and I'm either going to punch to the chin, I can forearm them to the carotid artery, or I can palm strike to the chin, and I've also got my fingers up here for eye gouges or whatever. There's no really set technique on how you do this. It's more of just what works for you. If you find one of these that you can do better and it flows better for you, then that's the one you should stick with. Just to demonstrate the blocks and the strikes at the same time, we're going to have Chris here throw some strikes at me, and I'm just going to kind of show you the different attacks that you can do. So he's going to start off with this big outside haymaker punch, or it can even be the wide hook punch. It really doesn't matter. So he throws it, I come in, and I block and punch to the chin at the same time. Another variant, same strike. I come in, I block here, and I strike right across his carotid artery. And then the third one, he comes in, I block, and I'm going to palm strike. So when I palm strike here, his head is going to go back, and that leaves him wide open for knees, kicks to the groin, whatever is there. So the same principle when we do this block down will work. It's the same. He's going to block it or strike at my lower body. I block and strike, block and strike, block and strike. So you can do these on different angles and just kind of play with it and make a drill out of it with your partner. So we went over our blocks and strikes at the same time. We got our pad holder here. So he's got this thick pad covering his body. He's also got a pad on his forearm, so when I'm doing my blocks, I'm not beating his forearm up. So these are kind of essential for doing these techniques or these exercises when you're hitting full speed, so you're not beating each other up. So we're just going to demonstrate this a few times, and we may start moving around too, because this is a drill where you can also start moving around and doing some of these blocks and strikes, just to kind of see how you can build on it. So again, we're in our stance, like always, hands up, we're here, and now he attacks. Alright, so today we've shown you a lot of different techniques that you can use to defend yourself with. So one of the main things that we notice when we start training people is they always want to train too fast. They want to do it as fast as the instructor's doing it or the person working next to them is doing it. And it's not always the best thing to do. You can train slow and you will build muscle memory doing that. It's been proven in handgun training courses, the military. There's a lot of people that train and they go by the old saying that slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So you don't have to start out training this stuff full speed or trying to go real fast in order to get proficient at it. You can train slow and still build muscle memory, and when the time comes to use these techniques, they'll just kind of come out and they will be fast. So the second part that I want to go over real quick is training safely. So you've seen us do these techniques and demonstrate this stuff. You watched us strike pads. We have those pads that allows us to go a little more full speed and full contact without injuring yourself or injuring your training partner. Because the last thing you want to do is get injured in training, because now, one, you can't train. Two, if you do get attacked in the street, you're injured and you may not be able to defend yourself. So you want to use the proper safety equipment when you're training these things so that you don't get injured. So if you don't have access to the equipment that's needed to do some of this stuff, try to find a local training center that you can sign up with and start training. So that's all the time we have for today. Don't forget to check us out at stormkravmaga.com. You can check out any of the videos. They'll be on there. There'll be a link. There's also a contact us button on there. You can send us any questions or comments you may have. And if there's anything you want to see in the future, you can send that to us as well.